are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Man, I'll tell you, there are some days when that theme song gets me rocking, and it's a Friday. I'm feeling a little bit jazzy. I was rocking to that a little bit. Welcome into a Friday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig, Ty Bartell. We're joined today by one of the voices that you hear on YSN quite a bit. We wanted to give him some FaceTime. It is Mr. Noah Ricks, the voice of Howland and Girard for basketball. And you're still kicking here because the Howland boys, they got the win over Ursuline. They'll be playing tonight against Louisville. Noah, thank you so much for taking the time and kicking it with us for a little bit here on Running Point.
All right, thanks for having me.
First and foremost, Noah, just talk to me about covering these Howland basketball teams, both boys and girls this season. You got a chance to cover two really good teams this season. Just talk to me about that experience, the experience with the community, the players, and the coaches.
Well, the community was very open to me. I honestly felt very excited to cover some Howland sports. My grandparents lived in Howland, on Rose Garden right before Tigertown. And I also experiencing two great basketball teams. One has a chance to win their first district title in school history. And the girls team was also very good as well, winning their first sectional title in 4 years. So glad to have that opportunity.
I mean, yeah, you talk about this girls team whose season is unfortunately done right now, but they were in a Division I bracket that was just a monster to try to even get out of districts. Talk about what you saw out of them. I mean, Alyssa Pompilia is probably one of the best players in the area. They also have a lot of other players that kind of went under the shadows because of how good she is. But, Taylor Lawrence really came on late, and Kylie McLean would step up when teams would slow down Pomp. And talk about this team and what it was like to cover them and what you got from Coach Pounds, because we talked to him quite a bit too, and I know you got a lot of post games with him.
Well, Coach Pounds does know how to coach those girls up. I know he's he coached at a smaller school because I was a chalker guy, and he was a coach at Matthews, so I kind of know him a little bit. So he does know how to coach these girls up, and also some very good players to go behind Pompelia. Alyssa Matsuchi, just a young sophomore, can really hit the three ball. She really does a good job getting off screens. Same as Taylor Lawrence, but unfortunately Taylor Lawrence is going to graduate with Pompelia and Jamie DeSalvo. So I think Coach Pounds does really have a good team on his hands next year, and hopefully they can go farther in the bracket.
Looking at this boys game too, we have Coach Siegfried coming on to talk about it from the Leopard side. We're hoping to get Coach Boubon on today too. We're still waiting to hear that. But I mean, talking about it from your perspective, Noah, what have you seen from this Howland boys team? They were kind of right around the middle of the pack in that AAC. We know that you and I both know that's a very tough conference to play in despite just 5 teams. But what have you seen lately from this Tigers team that has kind of propelled them to this point right now?
I kind of see a lot of heart, intensity, and grit. Coach Boubon, this is his 6th year now, but his chance to win his first district title. And also Howland trying to win their first district title since 2004. Some inspired basketball the other night when I was up in Ashtabula. They were down 47-40 against Ursuline heading into the fourth quarter, but what a strong 19-3 fourth quarter. And you can also think there are shots at the foul line to go for that. Of course, they had a little bit of ups and downs in those first 3 quarters, but Coach Boubon really does know how to get his guys prepared and focused. He just told him after the game, he told me that he just told him not to panic. They just didn't panic, and because of that, you got a great 59-50 victory in a rematch against Louisville coming up, which Louisville, they actually beat Louisville in the regular season. Coach Bubon told me after that game that it was the best game of the season for them. So, and they were like 8-2 at the time. So they do know how to get off some very good quality wins, and hopefully they can keep that intensity here tonight.
Oh my gosh, 19-3 in the fourth quarter. That's something unreal. Like, that's not just winning the fourth quarter. That's putting your foot down in the fourth quarter. No, I know how prepared you get for these games. I know you're probably ready to go for this Louisville-Howland matchup. Talk about some of the things you saw in the first one that you think might repeat themselves, and maybe some adjustments both these teams might make tonight in this tournament game.
Well, I think for starters, Louisville does really have a very good shooting game. I know number 22, Tyler Bonin, hit like 8 threes when we faced off against them, so we need to do a very good job of shutting down the perimeter. Maybe get into a little bit of zone, get into a little bit of man zone, and hopefully Howland will come out as a victor in that. And as for Louisville, I think they were just schooled by Anthony Matsuchi in that first meeting. Anthony Matsuchi is just a great basketball player, and he does know how to go off of those very hot nights, and he definitely has a lot of potential in the future. But in order to win for Siegfried and Louisville, shut down Matsuchi as much as you can, and for Howland, just shut down their perimeter.
It's very interesting that these two teams matched up, and we always love to say those second matchups are always a lot more fun to watch. Once you kind of know a little bit more about each other, you have that experience against each other. What do you think looking at this Louisville Leopards team? I mean, I know you gave some keys to victory. Will Aljancic is a big scorer for them too. Do you think at any point we see having Matsuchi on Aljancic just because of the threat capability they both have from anywhere on the floor?
Oh, that's going to be an exciting matchup. Aljancic and Matsuchi. It's going to be whoever does the most for the team is going to win that game. And Aljancic does know how to get off some good looks. Same as Matsuchi. Matsuchi does a very good job attacking the boards, just finishing down low. And I believe it's going to be a heck of a matchup tonight, and we're going to see some of the two best players on our YSN coverage.
I'm just constantly amazed with Anthony Matsuchi, the senior who missed most of his junior season, and he's still breaking records at Howland for career points and career three-pointers and things like that. Just imagine what kind of career he could have had if he didn't have that injury last season, and he would have had a full junior year.
Anthony Matsuchi does have a lot of motivation with that injury. He also, after Coach Bubon told me a little bit that he also hurt his other knee during football season as well, but he does get a lot of motivation from his brother Michael, from what I was reading a lot. Anthony Matsuchi does have a lot of motivation from that. I think he does like to have a goal of winning a district championship in basketball, also as baseball. So a hungry kid going to come out tonight, and it's definitely going to be a heck of a ride for him in his senior year.
Yeah, and he's not done after basketball, as you said, too, because Howland's going to have a pretty good year on the baseball diamond if projections hold out to what they should.
Yep. I don't really know much about Howland baseball, but I'm going to study them. Maybe, hopefully, I can get some gains from them during the season, and hopefully they can make a district title run because, a district championship is always wonderful in a Howland community, a rich Howland tradition, and it's going to be very exciting for baseball season coming up.
Those student sections know how to pack it in for basketball season, that's for sure. And the one thing about the AAC, too, very good in multiple sports, too. So baseball is not going to be a lax for competition either with Canfield, Fitch, Boardman, the likes of them still in conference. So Howland always a thorn in those team sides as well. They got a good program up there. It should be interesting to see that. Looking at Anthony Matsuchi, too, and what he's been able to do with this team, it's been remarkable. I guess the final question I just have to talk about, Noah. I mean, we've been kind of harping on it the whole show too, or this whole point of this is going to be the first district title in Howland history. And I mean, just to talk about year of first and how this sport, we've seen anybody can beat anybody. What do you think, all in all, it would mean for a community like Howland that shows up, supports so strong, student section's always there rocking? What do you think a district title would mean for this community to hang in those rafters?
I think it would mean the world. Of course, you saw the girls' basketball program had a very good tradition, winning districts with like Coach John Deal. But on the boys' side, it would be a great experience for them to witness. Of course, they last went to the district title back in 2004. They lost to Liberty 78-60 at Boardman, but this is definitely going to be a different time around 18 years later, and Howland is just going to come off storming out of the gates, and they're going to use that, a fire in their stomach in the community, a very good community in Howland. They do know how to show up. Same people there every game, every night, and it's going to be a rocking house at Ashabila on tonight.
DJ said this on the Power Hour a couple days ago, but I'll just smear it on our show too. Best student section in the area, period, in Howland. Give them the golden megaphone. Give them whatever you want from the OHSA. Get that sticker on the gym floor that says golden megaphone, because no one does it like the Tiger student section. I'm sorry, it's just it's something else. And Noah, you've been able to see them all season. I'm sure you can attest to that.
Oh yeah. During the first game I actually covered, they were playing Poland. I think they were like winning very good against Poland. I also saw some signs, very creative signs by Howland, said, "In Such we trust," and they actually have that as one of their Twitter handles, one of their background photos for Barstool Howland, from what I saw. So the student section does know how to get excited. They do know how to dress up very well, and they do get those AAC student sections a run for their money as well.
Yeah. No, let's get to know you a little bit before we let you go and before we get the rest of the show on. Where did you get started in this broadcasting thing? Like, what gives you a passion for calling these games, and where did you get your start?
Well, I first got my start at Chalker High School in a very small town, Southington, Ohio, at northwest Trumbull County, a small community of about maybe 3,000. I was just independently doing sports projects for my school's production program, video production program, and then I got an opportunity to like be the PA announcer for like the home football games. Maybe if it was only like 1 to 2 quarters. I was in a marching band, but it was a great experience to just have my voice up there on the mic of home games of Southington Chalker, and also during basketball season, I would film for the coaches, and I would also do play-by-play into the camera as well. And also hook it up to like the cafeteria TV. So that was always a great experience. But I also got to have a great experience being the PA announcer at the Q when Chalker went up there to play Lordstown. It was a great experience. I also got to see what an NBA scorer table was like. And we also got to experience some good basketball. That was when LeBron was playing.
Man, that blows our experience at the Q out of the water, because you got to go down on the court, be on the score table. You got to announce in that sound system. We get stuck up in the crow's nest. Go broadcast the game from the nosebleeds.
So, yeah.
Looking at this too, Noah, I mean, in your years of broadcasting and when you started, what is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself too in these years of broadcasting from when you first started until now?
I think just be yourself. Just do your own thing. And you're going to have some ups and downs, but you just keep going. You just keep working with that ethic. Keep researching as much as you can. There is never time to stop researching. There's always room to research some more. And I think you're going to be a great announcer if you just take a study at the game notes, write as many game notes as you can, learn a lot about the team's history, learn a lot about their players, learn a lot about their skill sets, the coaching styles. And I think that's like one of the most important things in broadcasting. Just do your notes, do your homework.
No, what's been your favorite thing about being with YSN and working with these teams and covering these teams and being able to be, like it says down there, the voice of Howland and Girard?
Oh, it was a great experience. I got to experience we were talking about this before the show, Anthony. The media table at Howland, very up and personal. You can really see all the action on the floor, and just being a part of the community, changing these kids' lives, changing their lives in not just sports, but in life as well. And I think YSN has given me a great opportunity to just go out and make some personal relationships.
We love the relationships that you've been able to make, Noah, too. We think you're doing a great job over there at Howland and Girard, too. And I mean, we can't thank you enough, but I'm sure these communities can't thank you enough for all the work you do for them as well.
No, right. Great job all season. You're going to be on the call tonight. Louisville versus Howland in Ashtabula Lakeside. Noah Ricks on the call at 7 o'clock. $9.99 gets you access to that game and every other tournament game on the network tonight. Noah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and kicking off the show right on Running Point.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Noah.
Man, that guy's awesome.
Does a great job. And I mean, he definitely he showcased it a bit when he was talking about not taking breaks with homework. He does his research and he definitely knows what he's talking about.
We were talking about him yesterday, and you brought up the fact when you did a game with him on Tuesday at Howland, you thought you were ready for the game, and then he pulls out like 3 notebooks.
Yeah, he was more than ready for that game. I love to see it, though. He is prepared.
He's right. If you want to be good at this, you got to be able to put the work in. You got to be able be yourself, but don't just show up at the game and just wing it. You can't just wing it and think you're going to be a really good announcer. And Noah Ricks does not wing it at all. He's ready to go for all these games that he does. And that's why, once again, one of the things that I said that I love about YSN is when you put in your work and you follow a team and you're that team's announcer and they make a run, you're going to be following them. So he's going to be there for Howland tonight, and he's going to be the voice of that game, and he's going to be the voice of the Howland Tigers if they move on and continue into the regionals.
Yep. All of us have big games tonight, Anthony. It's another big night on the network. We're excited for it.
Big day here on Running Point because at 12:30, we're going to kick off our Coach's Corners this wonderful Friday afternoon with Eric Fender at 12:30 from Poland. He'll be talking to us about their matchup with Cheney that just got solidified last night. Then we'll talk to Tom Siegfried, the head coach of the Louisville Leopards, at 1 o'clock. He can give us the Leopards' perspective of this game, how they bounced back from losing to Howland earlier in the season, and what adjustments they're going to make to try to win this district championship tonight. At 1:45, we're going to be talking to Jeff Brink, the head coach of the Springfield Tigers boys basketball team, as they get ready for their district championship game tomorrow night in Salem against Cardinal Mooney.
And we have recaps all in between all that we need to talk about too. So packed show here today on Running Point.
Yeah, recaps, there weren't a lot of games last night, but there was good news and bad news. Like almost every day, it seems like we have to, and then Ty, you set the tone. We have to start with the bad news. Springfield ran into a buzzsaw in Buckeye Central. This team had been there 6 years in a row. This is their sixth consecutive district championship, and Buckeye Central knew what to do at this level. Didn't control the game from the tip. It was a pretty competitive first quarter. I believe Buckeye Central was up 14-8. And like always, there's a time in the game where you can either get out of hand or stay competitive. And Buckeye Central put their foot on the gas and put a lot of separation between them and the Tigers before halftime. 33-13 at halftime, and it was pretty much over from that point.
Yeah, and I mean, congratulations to the Lady Tigers. Great season all in all. Got a district title under their belt for it, too. Made it to a regional semi, but, unfortunate, but this was a good Buckeye Central team, like you said, that they've been there. They've done that, and they have some great things going on down there, too. To get 6 years in a row consistency, that means they're bringing girls through their program, graduating them, and still staying competitive.
Buckeye Central was also so physical, up-in-your-face defense. It didn't give Springfield any kind of room, and it wasn't trapping. It was just man-to-man in your face. You can't beat us off the ball. Try if you want to. And Springfield couldn't beat them off the dribble. They couldn't get people to drive past the press. And, there were times when Springfield would struggle just to bring the ball down the floor. I'm going to say I don't think Springfield plays enough teams during the regular season that play that kind of high-intensity defense. They need to try to get out and play some teams that don't just sit back and zone. So when they play in the regionals against some really good teams that play really good man-to-man press defense, they're not going to be surprised about how hard it is to work the ball with ball pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just going to go back to the scheduling, keep working it. But I mean, they've had some successful runs, and I don't see this stopping for the Lady Tigers.
No, the window is wide open. J.C. Mulin's coming back. Madison Lesnack's coming back. Toscano, the freshman's coming back. Jamaica Brungard's coming back. So they have a lot coming back to this team. They're only losing 2 seniors, one of them a starter, and they're going to be fine. And
Coach Matizzi is going to have a whole nother year with these players, and I think that's going to be impactful too. Pretty hard to get everything right done in culture-wise in the first year. Coach Matizzi with a great run in his first year, but I think second year is going to definitely look a lot better too.
Elder Coach Matizzi was there too, watching from the upper deck in the bowl, standing with his arm crossed almost the whole game, taking everything in, and I'm sure he had a lot of good advice because he's taking his lumps in regionals too when getting his programs there for the first time. The first time South Range went there when Matizzi was there, they went up against Smithville and got just absolutely smacked in Cuyahoga Falls. But I think the advice to his son and the advice to the Tigers, you keep getting there and you keep kind of understanding the standard. Eventually you're going to break through. And South Range's program, obviously, 2 years in a row, they went and won a regional game in regionals, so they broke through. You got to keep getting there, and you got to keep kind of understanding the standard of getting there. You're not going to just magically appear there and be the best team in the region.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing is just keep competing and keep scheduling up. Tough schedules will pay off, I think, in the postseason. We've seen that happen time and time again.
Yeah, but I just think specifically, because a lot of Springfield's in a good conference, but a lot of those teams outside of Waterloo maybe play a lot of zone and not a lot of man, like straight up man-to-man, this press defense. McDonald a little bit, but McDonald didn't have the athletes this year that like a team like Buckeye Central does to play that really hard-nosed, in-your-face press defense for 4 quarters. Jackson Milton could, but they didn't have enough players to run a man-to-man press defense because they couldn't afford to be in foul trouble, and they definitely couldn't rotate people in. I'm still amazed that Waterloo ran the defense they did consistently with 6 players in rotation, to be honest.
Waterloo just having some great athletes, but
they were almost never in zone, but they were rotating 6 people. It was incredible.
The good thing for Springfield is the Waterloo's going to be competitive again next year. McDonald's going to take a step up.
McDonald's has a great freshman class coming up.
Western Reserve's going to always be competitive too. So, I mean, this is going to be good for Springfield too. You're going to see an influx of young athletes come in next year too, which will be interesting to see that freshman class and for a lot of these schools.
I would like to see Springfield play a Salem, Poland, other teams that come to mind to play good press defense, South Range, Liberty, teams that are going to get in your face. Brookfield plays a pretty good press defense, but Brookfield likes to sit back and zone a little bit.
They do. But the good thing with Brookfield, where I think Springfield can get a lot of, is because they're versatile. They can go and switch up on you from man to zone real quickly and force you to adjust on the fly offensively.
And that's what I think hurt the Tigers. I think the Tigers were so used to this season being the more aggressive team. And Buckeye Central came out, and they were absolutely 10 times more aggressive than Springfield. And the Tigers just weren't able to kind of match that energy from the tip, and that's what got them in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like we said, good season for the Lady Tigers, and we hope to see them back at the stage again next year.
Interesting, of the teams that got the regionals, Salem is the only one that took the bye, and they're the only ones left. Is there a correlation to that? I don't know, but you could think, hey, Salem didn't play that first round game. And the teams that did kind of took the first round game to get a little bit of an easier path to a district semifinal. So
when you're playing in a season
next year, looking into it,
when you're playing in a season where anybody can beat anybody at any given time, like we said too. I don't think Dover was scheduling Fitch the way, or scheduling that line thinking they were losing in the sectional semi.
Right.
But that's the risk you play sometimes if you don't want some teams, and I get it. I get both sides. You don't want to have that much time in between games. You want to stay fresh. You want to stay sharp. But that's the roll of the dice that you throw on the table too. And sometimes it strikes where it doesn't work out in your favor. And sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor down the road too, because you're just giving these teams extra film. and extra things to look at of who you really are now in the tournament.
All right, let's go to the good news from last night, and that was that Cheney got the win over Chagrin Falls, 60-47, to move on into the district championship game. They will play Poland, and this was a game where Cheney just bullied their way, and that's what I used for the headline. They bullied their way into a district final. They were just the more physical team. They pushed and pulled their way to a win over Chagrin Falls.
Looking at this too, I don't know if is it 3 or 4 consecutive now with Poland? Out of these 4 years that Cheney's been back, they've made it to the district title all 4 times. How many times have they faced
technically Poland? It's 3 because that one year, no, they did get in. They did get past the district championship, didn't they? They were stopped in the regional semis.
Yeah, they've made it to the district championship 4 years.
I think it's 3.
I think they faced Poland 3. I do think so because I think that first year they came back, I think they faced Poland, and then there might have been someone else in between for that 20. Was it 2020? And then these last 2 were Poland, I believe, as well.
Clive Wilson led the Cowboys with 16 points, 10 rebounds, so a double-double for him. DJ Waller, he was 15 points, 2 rebounds for Cheney, and then Jason Hewlett, who we just love the fact that he's back competing again after that.
Oh, absolutely.
Football field. He had 6 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 steals. So he got all up and down the stat sheet for Cheney. 4 straight district final for Cheney, and the Cowboys will vie for the district crown with Poland. Let's see what the Cheney-Poland matchup has now accounted 3 of the last 4. You were right. 3 last 4 district title games. The Bulldogs and Cowboys already met this season. Cheney had a 57.
I do not believe Poland has won any of those district championships, though.
This is a different Poland team. They're scrappy.
Oh, I know they are.
Scrappy.
But I don't think, because I was thinking, did they win one of those 3? And I don't think they did. I think they're 0-3 in these last 3 matchups with Cheney, which that adds more fuel to the fire, I think, too, if you're on the Poland side. So it just adds intrigue to this matchup. But also, Jason Hewlett coming back this late in the season for a tournament run, that's a problem for a lot of teams. What he can bring to the table, too, and when he's completely healthy, he adds a whole nother layer and a whole nother dynamic to this offense that the Cowboys can bring. So it's going to be interesting watching this tough, scrappy, gritty, physical play of both these teams go at it.
I've said it before, Eric Fenner's already on my list of top 3, maybe top 4 of Coach of the Year nominations. But in my opinion, if they win this game over Cheney, give him Coach of the Year, hands down. Sorry, that's my opinion. I don't know if everyone else in Ysn kind of agrees with it, but
if he's able,
what he's done with the adversity that they faced this year, it's incredible.
I mean, if he's able to get the Cheney monkey off the back of this program, this Poland program that suffered so many losses to the Cowboys at this stage the last few years, if he's able to finally get that Cowboy monkey off the back, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge for this Poland program. And to get that district championship in his first year, too, after the historic Coach Grisdale for that program left, that's quite a resume to put together for Coach of the Year, I think.
It's never easy replacing a legend. I don't care if you were on a staff or you're just a new guy that just pops into the program. Either way, it's never hard to step into those shoes, and Coach Fender has done it remarkably well, and he has a chance to do something that Coach Grisdale couldn't do in the last 3 years, which is beat Cheney.
Yeah, and I mean,
and
you could give a little jab to Coach Grisdale then, too.
Right.
You could give him a little jab and say, I got Cheney beaten for us.
Coach Grisdale will put out his 500-plus wins on the table and say, call me when you have that.
Yeah. No, I think Coach Grisdale is going to be so supportive of this team. He's probably watching either in attendance or from afar. He's going to be paying attention to this one. And, Coach Fender had his outright support. He was on his staff, too. Right. So I think if there was anybody that Coach Grisdale would say he trusts to put in that position, Coach Fender would have been the one.
Well, let's talk to the man himself as Eric Fender's in the green room right now. We're going to pop him in in just a second here as we bring him on. Running Point coach, how we doing?
Good, yourself?
We're doing good. I think we're not doing as good as you. I think you're doing a little bit better than we are. You're getting ready for a district championship game. Great win on Wednesday in overtime. First, before we talk about this big matchup with Cheney for the third straight year for you guys, talk about this district semifinal win in overtime. What kind of it came down to? How proud you are of your boys and what you guys did so well to win this game.
Well, I think one of the things we did to win the game was we didn't let adversity affect us too much. We had the lead for a little while. We let 2 threes go in at the end of the fourth quarter. One was a prayer to send the game into overtime. But again, when you put kids through different situations, and we have that with different athletes playing football, soccer, baseball, and they're in those pressure-packed situations, they don't necessarily get flustered too much. And that's a credit to all the Poland sports. But that's just a credit to the boys as well. They regrouped, and we did what we had to do to win the game on Wednesday night.
Talking about this matchup with Cheney, I mean, there's no question that this has been district title 3 out of the last 4 years too. But you guys also played them in the regular season. You played them tight, played them close, played them tough too. What do you think it would mean not only for this community and this team to get this Cheney monkey off the back, but what do you think it is that they do so well? And what have you seen growth-wise from your team over the years going against the Cowboys?
Well, the one thing they have is they've got a lot of athleticism. They've got some height. We know Clive in the middle. He's a big presence. He's going to Boston College for football. It's tough to simulate and practice getting a young man of that size and stature. But their athleticism, they go, you go and watch the game last night. They played about 12 or 13 guys deep, and they're going to pressure the basketball. And we've got to be able to handle that from the tip all the way till the end of the game. For us, it's just, we played them this year. And sort of my motto going in has been we want to try and play the best teams in the area. And we knew Cheney was going to be. And we wanted to see that test sometime within the year. It just so happened this year it was more towards the end of the year. But it gave our guys an idea of where we're at, what we need to improve on, and how good Cheney is. And like I said, they're a great team. Coach McGaughy does a great job. But again, there's things that I think we can do to try and help ourselves and put us in a pretty good situation to hopefully come out with a win.
Coach, I love that you brought up your kids' ability to bounce back from adversity in a game on Wednesday, because that's kind of been the mantra of your whole season. I know you've been dealing with the injury bug as a team, and you've had to bounce back from kids stepping up into roles they probably didn't think they'd have coming into this season. It's been adversity filled, and you guys have answered it every step of the way. Talk about how proud you are as a coach that no matter what this team comes across, they're able to just put their nose down and grind through the adversity that calls their name.
Well, I think the biggest thing that we have is, and this is from top to bottom, and this is, I think, any sport you're going to find at Poland Seminary is we've got a lot of competitors. We've got a lot of kids who they're going to go out and they're going to compete. And when those lights are turned on, they're going to give you their best effort. And that's one of the things that from even when I was there with Coach Grisdale, and I knew when Coach Brungard and Coach Hooley and some of those, football guys that have been around and even the baseball programs and everybody who's been successful, we want to compete, and effort is huge. And sometimes we may not be the most skilled team, but I know from my standpoint, I feel like, we're going to get the kids' best effort every night. And that's all you can ask for. Sometimes the ball bounces your way. Sometimes it doesn't. But these kids come in every day. They work hard. They're very coachable. But the big thing for me is their consistent effort for 32 minutes on the basketball court.
Talk to me a little bit. We talked about the non-conference schedule that you guys have the control over of scheduling, but talk to me about competing in this NE8 and how effective you think this conference play that you guys play with the Struthers, the Jeffersons of the world this year, how much do you think that helped you going into this tournament?
Well, I think it helped us tremendously. One of the things with Jefferson and Struthers particularly is their height and their length. They have the athleticism. They can shoot the balls from the perimeter. But for us, it's just getting out and facing good competition. South Range was good this year. Girard was very competitive games. They ended up beating Struthers once. It's a battle night in and night out. And that's that, when you're battled like that consistently throughout the year, not only in your non-conference, but in your conference as well, you become more comfortable in tight situations. You become more comfortable just when the game gets close and you need to make those kind of plays to win a game.
When you guys played Cheney earlier in the post-game press conference with Anthony Romo, the Cheney players were asked what was so different about this Poland team that they played this year compared to last year, and they all gave you guys credit for being a lot stronger and a lot more physical. Have you seen growth in the strength and the physicality of this team from last year to this year, and what do you attest that to?
I don't necessarily see growth in the strength. I think it's just the competitive drive of our kids. We've got so many kids that play football, and I know when they're in the weight room consistently. And there's times where these guys are in the weight room, and we're not even asking them to get in the weight room, or football's not asking them to get in the weight room. They're doing it on their own, and that's a testament to the work ethic of these guys. But again, it's just the consistency that they bring every day, and trying to understand, how important strength is. Whether it's your core strength, whether it's anything like that, they know that the weight room's important.
Talking about the injuries that you guys suffer this year, it's always important to see who steps up, and that's usually determines how rough that road's going to be through injuries. And you guys are able to compete through that tough NE8, and you're obviously right here back at a district championship. Who are some of the big players that you saw step up when those injuries did occur, and you needed some crucial minutes from some guys that you didn't really ask it from down the stretch?
Well, when we started the season, our hope was to have a kid like Michael Gordon be around. Michael ended up hurting his labrum playing football and had to have season-ending surgery. We had other injuries such as Cole Fulton, Bryce Behringer, another kid who played for Coach Grisdale last year, was going to play for us. But some of these guys that stepped up, you're talking guys like Luke Generalovich, Carson Maurer, Noah Huda, Michael Natoli, a senior that came back. He didn't play last year. He wanted to focus on football and baseball, but he really wanted to come out of senior year and play with his buddies, and he's been a huge contributor for us. But it's pretty much from top to bottom. It's our guys getting in every day, coming in, working hard, being coachable. And again, these guys are not only just basketball kids, but they're just multi-sport athletes. And when you get that and you get that competitive drive, it can really help in the long run, because experience matters. And to have even game-like experience, whether it be district championship games in soccer, because we've got quite a few soccer kids on our team, or playoff runs through football, putting them in that opportunity really helps. And it really carried us when we lost some of the other guys that we thought were going to be around.
Coach, we can't not talk about Ross Tito's performance in this district semifinal game. I mean, 37 points. And that's not the first time he's kind of put on a show this year. His game at South Range was particularly fun to watch, but he's been doing it all season. Talk about what it's been like coaching him, and what he's done so well this year, and what he did so well on Wednesday night.
Well, I think this year, one thing Ross came into and figured out sort of my style compared to Coach Grisdale's is he's going to have a lot more freedom. And some of that freedom you're starting to see on the basketball court, where he goes up against Streetsboro, puts up 30, goes up against a great Chardon team and puts up 37. We know that he can score the basketball from all three aspects. But the one thing that's really impressed me with Ross this year is his rebounding. He's actually leading our team in rebounding. He and Christian are battling their tails off. Jack Fulton, Michael Natoli, they're all doing well rebounding. But for Ross, who's a guard, and sometimes wants to get out in transition, he's also figured out, especially in the Chardon game, second half, you look at, he had 15 rebounds in that Chardon game. And sometimes that gets overlooked just because of his scoring prowess. But Ross's just overall maturity and growth has been huge for us. But that goes not only for Ross, that goes for each and every one of our players. Their growth and maturity over the course of the season has been instrumental to the run that we've been able to make.
You mentioned the freedom that he had too under your style system. I just wanted to go into that a little bit, because obviously Coach Grisdale, historic coach for the program, did a great job. You were under him for a little bit, and I think that helps too in the transition process. But talking about that transition process too, what are some other things that you kind of found yourself not changing the wheel or reinventing what Coach Grisdale said culture-wise, but what things did you find yourself tweaking and is now under Coach Fender's system?
Well, I think some of the tweaking, and it's not a whole heck of a lot, like I talked to you about the first time, we sat down, was I don't want to change the bones of the program. He did a great job and he, just he understood where kids needed to be. He understood where he wanted to get kids shots from. And for me, necessarily, sometimes I just want them to have the freedom to go make plays. We don't necessarily have a lot of just basketball guys right now. We have a lot of athletes, and I want to try and put them in the best opportunity to go score or to be aggressive, and giving them that freedom, letting them know that, hey, it's okay to be aggressive, attack the hoop. Mistakes are going to happen, and just having that kind of sense of relief from them, I think the pressures changed a little bit. Again, there's certain times where I want to set play, or I want to set defense, or there's something we need to make sure we take care of and get done. But to give them that freedom to more or less just go play basketball is what I'm trying to reinstill in those guys.
Coach, before we let you go, I mean, obviously this Poland community has been behind you all year. They show up better than a lot of communities do in the area. Talk about how much it's going to mean to your guys and your program to see the Poland faithful in the crowds for this game and having their back.
Well, the Poland community has been great. First off, having graduated from there, having played in front of so many people that I get the opportunity to come back and coach in front of now, you just try and show them the hard work that these boys have put in. Win or lose, I couldn't be more proud of the group of kids that we have this year, of how they've played, and of the product of basketball that we've put out there. But none of this is, for me. It's all for the kids, and that community support that we get is unwavered. And it's something that not many programs in this area can say they have. And we are lucky enough to be one of those programs that have a great community, to have great support from both the school system as well as the community, and that means a lot to us.
After being under Coach Grisdale and then stepping into this head coaching role in this year too, talking about that, was there anything that not that you weren't prepared for that, but that you were maybe a little bit surprised by when you stepped into this role? And what's the biggest thing you think you've learned about yourself as a coach now, having this first full head coaching year at Poland under your belt?
Well, for me, the biggest thing is just the adversity through injuries, and just seeing how deep we actually are. We've got kids from the freshman level all the way up that are performing, and I think the future is bright for Poland basketball. Some of the things I learned about myself with coaching is just it's a different game. When I was at Springfield, it's the Division III, Division IV level, and now you're moving up and playing in the Division I and II level, and it's the physicality, it's the being ready to expect a game night in and night out, and the consistency of basketball that's being played, that we go and face every night.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and helping us preview this district championship game with Cheney. And we can't wish you the more luck than we're doing. But
well, I appreciate all your support.
Good luck, and we hope to talk to you again real soon, maybe about some regional basketball.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens on Saturday night at 4:00. But thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Should be a fun one, Coach. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Coach Eric Fender of Poland boys basketball gearing up for a district championship game Saturday at 4:00 as they match up with Cheney in Boardman High School. It's going to be a fun one for sure tomorrow. I guess you would say evening, afternoon. I don't know.
Yeah,
in that middle spot. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. I guess evening, because it starts at 4, but it'll go into the 6 hours. So
it'll start getting a bit dark. We're getting sunlight later though, Anthony. Spring's approaching. It is. Spring
is approaching, and it looks sunny outside, but it's still kind of cold out. So it's very deceiving.
Yeah, it is deceiving. Almost here's like your, wicked pitches we're going to be seeing in the baseball and softball season too.
Here's your meteorology lesson of the week from Running Point. In the winter, you should actually root for cloudy days because clouds keep heat in. So on average, cloudy days are actually going to be warmer than sunny days in the winter. So in winter, root for those clouds.
That's exactly why you see the humidity we have in Ohio is because we have the clouds too. That in the summer too, after it rains and then it just clouds, it's just reflecting off of each other. And it's just
in 2020 we had like 260 something crazy like that days of at least partly cloudy skies and only like 90 days of sunlight.
We like changing it up here in Ohio.
There's a reason that the military built bombs in Youngstown for World War II because you can't see them from the air because it's covered in clouds. Here in Seattle, the two best places to do secret stuff in the military.
Youngstown, Ohio, and Seattle, Washington. Two very different towns.
Like it's true, but the cloud cover made it a great spot. Spy planes couldn't see under the clouds. So I believe, if I could be, historians could come up and prove me wrong, but I believe Youngstown and Seattle were both places where some secret stuff got kind of either built or manufactured for World War II.
It was Anthony who was behind it.
Yeah. I actually front run. I started the Manhattan Project in New Mexico. So.
80 years ago. 80 years ago.
I'm a immortal being.
And the idea of maybe we should start building our bombs in Youngstown and Seattle. Anthony threw that the U.S.
did.
Way.
If something else breaks out.
We're gonna need to put this. We're gonna need to start building. After World War I, it was Anthony that said Youngstown and Seattle need to start being used to build bombs because the clouds over top.
The cloud coverage.
Yeah, the history lesson today. Anthony's good for those though.
History and meteorology. You didn't know you were going to get them on Running Point, but you did.
You could also get them over at our friends 21 WFMJ too.
Storm Tracker 21.
Yeah, on Storm Tracker 21, or you could just watch the newscast on 21 WFMJ to get the weather updates. They have a lot more people, a lot more qualified.
Well, what are you trying to say?
Talk about it. You gave it.
I got nothing on DePaulo over there, so he's a good meteorologist and he runs a good ship.
Good luck.
Got some love from the Rockets in the comments section from Mrs. Lucente. So good luck to the Rockets tonight. We'll talk about that game a little bit later on in the show, but we're going to take our first break of the day. When we come back, Tom Siegfried at 1. We have Jeff Brink at 1:45. All that plus previews of tonight's game and more on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell as we continue this Friday edition of Running Point as we gear up for conversation with Tom Siegfried at 1 o'clock, the head coach of the Louisville boys basketball team. We'll also have Jeff Brink on at 1:45. Ty, while we wait, let's look at some of the games that are happening tonight on the network. Once again, all these games can be purchased for $9.99. One payment of $9.99 gets you access to all the games, tournament games on tonight. And there are 5 games on the network tonight, starting with Louisville versus Howland at Ashtabula Lakeside. Noah Ricks will have the call there. Jefferson versus Campbell at Howland. Ty will be on the call there. JFK will play Matthews. That one taking place in Grand Valley. Dom O'Brien on the call at 7 o'clock. And Lowville taking on St. Thomas Aquinas at Struthers. Eric Hughes will have the call there. Those are the 4 boys games. And then, of course, Salem playing for a trip to Dayton, Norton, and Barberton in the state semifinals. Myself and DJ and myself, whatever one is grammatically correct, will be on the call from the Purple Palace in Barberton as Salem fights for a trip to state. And we'll preview all those games here in the second hour. But first, we have to talk to Coach Tom Siegfried of Louisville, who is feeling pretty good getting to a district championship game. And, Coach, welcome on to the program.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Coach, I mean, we talked about this tournament run in D2 is it's a difficult one, and it's a ride, and it surely has showcased that for you guys too. Let's first and foremost talk about this win against Canton South, what you saw from your guys down the stretch late in this game, and what it took for you guys to pull off this thriller against the Wildcats.
Yeah, there's been 2 in a row, and obviously Canton South, elevated to another level there. Coach Conley and the Wildcats had a great game plan against us. Totally different team than we obviously saw the first time we faced them. But it's tournament basketball, and you don't get to district semis and district finals by accident. So we kind of expected that a little bit. They played extremely hard. They had some big possessions early on that put us in a hole. And once again, I think our guys just showed a lot of grit and togetherness. And, our schedule prepared us for that. And that's basically where we were at. Got a little fire alarm. You guys get a little bonus fire alarm today at the Louisville High School.
For a minute, I thought it was us, and I had to
No, it's us. It's just we're safe. Trust me, we're safe.
You know what? It's fire in Louisville because the team's playing so well. Talk about this matchup now with Howland. I know you played them in the regular season. You dropped the game to the Tigers, but both teams are a little bit different now as we get to the final stretch of games. What are some of the adjustments that you're going to make, and what do you think it's going to take to win this game?
Yeah, so I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said about it's two different teams. Both teams, that's early on, I believe it was like January 11th. And, we changed a lot. Obviously, it's almost been 2 months now. And basically, each team does a little bit different as far as offense, defense, rotations. Both teams have been through a lot. And, I think their path to the district final is very similar to ours. They were down both games late, found a way to beat a good Struthers team, and then found a way to beat a really good Ursuline team. So much credit to Coach, and we're just looking forward to today.
We talked about it earlier on the show too. I think the matchup we're all looking forward to is just Aljancic, Matsuchi. These are two players that it seems like can score from anywhere on the court too, and it's going to be a fun one to watch. What's it like? I mean, what do you expect from this matchup, and what's it like going up against a player so similar to Will Aljancic that can score from anywhere?
Yeah, he's a special player. I mean, we knew he was good when we played him earlier in the year, and unfortunately, he was hurt last year, and never like to see, kids that put that kind of time into it go through something like that. But, the way he rehabbed and came back this strong this year, we had a young man here a couple of years ago, Colin Chambers, that went through the same type of thing. And, honestly, to see him come back so strong, so quick is a credit to him. And he scores in a million different ways. The first time we played him, he had post-ups, he had penetration, he had 7 threes, and he really led them. But I think the difference in their game plan now is they have a lot of guys that are helping him as well. So they're more of a complete team right now at this point of the year. And, of course, Will is Will. He's done it all year and really has done a nice job of incorporating other people into it as well, with Hayden and Tyler, and some of our young guys are becoming a big part of the team as well.
Coach, when you look at the last 2 games that you've played in this tournament, they've both been really close games that you've needed to make really big plays down the stretch to win. How much do you think that experience is going to help you in this game, which I think no one would be surprised if it's another close one down the stretch?
Yeah, I think that's just tournament basketball. And if you're not willing to win those types of games, you probably don't have a very good chance of getting or winning a district final. 2 years ago, we were in the same boat. Copley came down to the wire in the district semis, and we were able to pull that one off. And then Triway, same thing. We were tied at half, and they end up winning that one. But it's tournament basketball. Everybody knows if you lose, you're going home. Especially if you have seniors, you have guys put a lot of time into it. We started this in late October. Here we are in early March, and these guys don't want the season to end. I know for a fact I don't want to have my last walkthrough. I don't want to have my last practice yesterday. We want to make sure we're practicing tomorrow and getting ready for our next opponent.
Talking about this last game too with the Wildcats, Coach, do you think that kind of game benefits them before a game like Howland, where you expect it to be close down the stretch, coming out on top and playing in a close game where you have to battle that adversity right before? You think that's a good reminder for them before such a big game in a district championship?
Yeah, first off, we all survived the fire drill, so I applaud you guys to keep going through that. That's the first time that's ever happened to me in 15 years, I can tell you that. Yeah, I think it does, because when you go through something like that, and if something would happen again, where you get down a few or it's a tight game, you have that little bit of idea of what it's like, and you've done it a couple times. We were down 12 to Canfield at half and found a way to win late, get a big stop, and the same thing basically happened with South. I think we scored our last bucket with like a minute 38 to go in the game. and neither team scored again. And that's just the way it goes, and to the outside, fan, they might say, well, you scored 71 the first time, how do you only score that many points? It's just different. Okay. When you're playing 22 games, you're going to have some letdowns through the year. I've done it. South's done it. Howland's done it. But when you're getting this type of game, every possession counts, and it's tournament basketball. So I expect the atmosphere to be great. I expect the players to be at top notch. And, to be honest with you, this tournament, we knew coming in, we talked a little bit at the beginning that, from 1 seed through 15, 16, 17 seed, all these teams were capable of coming in. I think that's what makes it a great tournament. You didn't have the typical team that come in and go, well, we all have a chance, but we know this team's probably going to win it. It was up for grabs for anyone. And I'm really proud of our kids to get to this point with so much competition.
All that being said, and how tough this bracket really is, what would a district championship mean to this program, mean to these kids? And can you put into words kind of what it would mean for this community?
Yeah, I mean, we've made some great strides here in basketball over the last 15 years, and getting to 2 districts, in 3 years, and then to have a chance to possibly win a district and move on, it would take it to another level. I would be lying if I didn't say that, but at the same time, I'll be very, very honest with you. I'm just really, really proud of these kids getting to this point. You always want to have a chance in this game, and I feel like they put themselves in a position to have a great chance in this game. And whatever happens at the end, I'm just very proud of them. I'm very proud of this community. I'm very proud of our student section, all of our leaders. I think it's just been a great ride, and we don't want that ride to end. We want to be played at the Civic Center next Thursday.
Who have been some of those big players that you've seen step up, Coach, too, outside of your big names? We know your Al Jansiks, we know your Ligenholz, we know the big names that are going to score. But who are these role players that you've seen step up and really serve some very crucial minutes for you guys down the stretch?
Yeah, obviously Nigro and Al Jansik have led us all year. You brought up some names there, but Tyler Bolden, senior captain, who has a lot of potential, and he's just been really big down the stretch for us. It started with our last regular season game. I believe he had 27 in that game, and he's hit big shot after big shot. He made a few threes the other night against South, critical times. He's just been a leader all year. Now he's starting to let his performance take hold. And our freshmen have been there all year as well. As we've made this run from Jackson on, my son Bo, Braden Gross have been big parts of that. And then those other guys that were still playing, they played big parts. Zach Seaman, a guy that started a lot of the year, and he hit big free throw the other night against Canfield. AJ Langenholt gave us good minutes the other night. Chase Mueller does a lot of stuff on the top of our press. We just have a lot of guys giving good minutes. Charlie Roberts, who started his first game against Jackson, hit a big 3 to open up the game against South. So there's just a lot of people really playing intricate roles in this team. And I think that's what gives me the most satisfaction doing this so long. You just want everybody to have a piece. Our bench has been great. Our assistants have been great. So we just, this has been a long day. I'll be honest with you. Just want to play. And we can't wait to get over there and play at Ashtabula Lakeside.
Coach, before we let you go, I want you to give kind of a call or a call to action to Louisville community to get out and support you guys tonight, and what the atmosphere would mean to you if they packed this house.
Yeah, I think they're ready. We have a Spirit bus going up, and last count, I think there was 120, 130 kids that are going to be on the Spirit buses, not one, that are going up. They're making that track an hour and 45 minutes. And if you don't think that this program's taking hold in this community, to have 145 kids or whatever going up an hour and 45 minutes with fans, I think there was over 1,000 people at that game the other day at Glen Oak. On a Wednesday. I just can't tell you how much we appreciate that. Our program appreciates that. And we just want them to get out there. Our kids rally from these guys. They play with passion. I think they feed off the energy in the stands. And I truly say when Louisville basketball wins this district, it's not just going to be our team. It's the whole community. It's the whole program. And it's the sixth man most of all.
Coach, I mean, first and foremost, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy day to come on and join us and give us this little preview of this game. We wish you the best of luck against Talon tonight. And, hey, maybe the next time we talk to you, we're talking about a district championship.
I certainly hope so. And thanks for having me on, and thanks for the entire year. You guys do a great job.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Tom Siegfried, the head coach over there in Louisville for the boys basketball program. He's gearing up for a district championship game tonight against Howland in Ashtabula Lakeside. Noah Ricks, who we had on the show a little bit earlier will be on the call for YSN. 7 o'clock tip. Reminder that if you're not going and you want to watch this game, $9.99 gets you access to it and the other 4 tournament games on the network tonight.
And
Ty?
we got a response too. Coach Boubon's going to be on sometime after 1, so we're going to be. We never know when he's
time after 1. He might pop in now. He might pop in.
We're gonna be talking from the other side of it on the Howland side too. So excited to get both of our teams some coverage in this one, as this would be huge for Louisville. But as Noah Ricks was saying, Howland also competing for their very first district title ever in school history. So this is going to be a great one tonight. I'm excited for it.
Hey, here he is too. It's after 1, so I guess it counts.
There we go. We got him. Coach
Chris
Boubon.
Boubon, the head coach of the Howland Tigers, joining us on Running Point. Coach, how we doing today? Thanks for coming on.
All right, guys. How are you?
Doing real good, Coach. I mean, not as good as you, I can imagine right now with you and your boys.
Yeah, I'd be doing better if I slept a little more, but other than that, we're doing great.
Looking at this run that you guys have been on, and you know what, talking with other coaches too, Coach Birch, Coach Beanie, other coaches inside this AAC, they'll all tell you that this is one of the under the radar conferences. It's a very tough conference you guys play in. You guys all play tough non-conference schedules as well. But talk to me about this run that you guys have been on in this particular tournament. Not a super high seed, but what have you seen from your boys down the stretch that you've been really impressed with?
Well, you nailed it when you talked about the conference. Sometimes people don't appreciate our conference around here. It's not always beautiful basketball, but it's always tough, hard-nosed. You got to grind it out, and that prepares you for the tournament. I'll talk to people that watch schools outside of our conference. They just kind of roll their eyes, but then I go, well, do you want to play Boardman twice, Fitch twice, Harding twice, and Canfield twice? And every one of them said, no, don't want to do that. So that's what's prepared us. These have been 2 tough games we've been in, but I was listening to Coach Siegfried earlier, and he's right. I've never seen a draw like this, all the way down to the 16-17 seed. There was not one team you wanted to play there. So no matter what path you took, you were going to have minimum 2 tough games to just get to the final. That's what both of us have had.
Coach, when you look, I don't think you want to play those teams twice in a season, but you look at the schedule that you have played and how much it has prepared you for this grueling bracket that you're in. Talk about how much you thought your kids were prepared coming into this district bracket, and how proud you are that they went out and executed it in every game so far.
Yeah, I'm really proud of them because, we lost 9 times this year. That's not easy to take, but with our schedule, again, in 22 games, I could probably look at maybe 5 games where I went in and said, yeah, we're a lot better than this team. We're going to beat them. The other 17, you're going, we're going to have to play well or we're going to get beat. We've been through a little bit of everything. We've gotten beat up a couple times. Boardman beat us up twice, and then we've lost some close games. Harding by 2 points. Canfield at the buzzer the last time we played them. Another one earlier, I think we lost on the last shot. And then we won one on the last shot. So just all those battles prepare you. Sometimes kids can't handle that. You have some things go against you, and they're just mentally, I don't think we're very good. And we just kept on them like, we're good. We can play with anybody. When you compare scores and this team beat that team and we beat them, one of the biggest wins for us was to beat Louisville earlier this year. Look at Louisville's schedule and who they've played. When we won that game, I said, we're doing something. That is a big win. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do it again. Not going to be easy, but the way we're playing right now, I like our chances against about anybody.
Coach, one thing I want to really commemorate with these 2 games in the playoffs against Struthers, against Ursuline, 2 very tough, good basketball programs, held them both to 50 points each respectively. Defense playing very good in these games. Would you say that that's a key? And if so, what are some other keys you've seen in these 2 victories in this game from your boys that have been so good and so crucial in these games?
Defense is always going to give you a chance. Against Struthers, the 2 things we wanted to do, we wanted to hold Ronnie Leonard down as well as we could, and he only had 12 points, probably one of his lowest of the year. And their shooter at number 13, I thought he was the best shooter I saw all year. And Ben Bronson chased him around. If he went out to the parking lot, Ben chased him. The kid only attempted 1 3 in the game. And that's why we won. And then against Ursuline, kind of as a team, we did a great job of limiting Terrence Pankey, who was a tremendous player. We were just determined that he was not going to get any points in the paint, and other guys were going to have to beat us shooting threes. It ended up working out for us. The biggest thing offensively against Ursuline is we withstood that physical pressure at the end when we had a lead and we had to hold the ball to either get to the foul line or get a layup. We were able to do it. And against Ursuline, that is not easy because they are just up in you and they're grabbing you and they're pushing you. And in the tournament, that stuff kind of gets let go a lot. So we had to play through it. That's why we won the game.
And you won the fourth quarter, I believe it was 19-3.
That shocked me afterwards.
What did take in that fourth quarter? What were some adjustments that you guys made, and what was the difference in that fourth quarter against Ursuline?
Difference was, we kept our strategy with Pankey of keeping him out of the paint. We did a better job of getting out on Vinny Filato. He had a lot of threes in the third quarter. I think he had 4 threes in the third quarter. So we felt like if we could keep Terrence out of the paint, get out hard on Vinny, that we're going to have to live with the other guys shooting. And fortunately for us, those other guys were not hitting in the fourth quarter. And then when we got the lead, we were able to hang on from the foul line. We weren't shooting well from the foul line until we really had to. I think it was 51-50. We were winning, and we probably hit 6 or 7 free throws in the last minute and a half to seal it.
Coach, we talked with Noah Ricks, who covers you guys this season, and we were previewing this too. But I want to ask you what it would mean for you and your boys to be able to hoist that district championship trophy for the first time in Howland history, and kind of have that on a banner in the gym.
Be huge. Since the first year I took this job, I was really shocked that they had never won a district championship, because in the 80s and early 90s, Howland had some really good teams. They just were never able to finish it off with that district championship, but we wanted to make every effort to be the first team to do it. No one can ever top it. The first is the first. The way things are with the tournament now for a public school, a district championship is a huge deal, because no matter what division you're in, you go further and further down the line, you're running into some usually loaded up, stacked team with Division I talent that is going to be really, really tough to beat. But if you can win that district and be the best team in your area, or one of the 2 best teams in your area, with regular high school basketball players. Again, we don't have anybody going to Ohio State or Duke or anything like that, but we got some hardworking kids that really believe we can do this, and it'd be a huge deal. It'll mean a lot for them for the rest of their lives.
You might not be going to Duke, Coach, but before we let you go, I do want to talk about Anthony Matsuchi and what an incredible season he's had, and bouncing back from the injury and coming back mentally prepared and obviously physically prepared for a great season. Talk about what it's been like watching him his senior year, and what it's been like to see him kind of get this moment to succeed after the adversity that he's had to go through.
It's been tremendous. He, as a sophomore, he played a lot for us. It started a little bit, but he was really a shooter and not much else. And we kind of sat him out on the wing and tried to get him some open threes. But I don't think I've ever had a kid improve as much overall as he did between his sophomore and his junior year. And all the numbers he put up this year, he was putting up last year, but he got hurt pretty quick. We started late because of COVID, and we got in about 9 games, and then he was hurt and done. Missed the last 13 games of the year. And then he got hurt again in the summer, and we didn't know what was going to happen coming into this season. He really didn't start practicing until a week before our first game. And he was great right off the bat. He had a great game against Poland. in game 1 of the year, and really never slowed down. Biggest thing that's happened lately. Now, when you get to this point in the tournament, teams are really going to do everything they can to limit him or take him away. I thought he played a great game against Ursuline. He had 9 points only, but Ursuline was really trying to take him away, and he was a great passer. He was great in setting other guys up. He's been a great rebounder all year. So, I mean, all the things we needed for him to do to win, he did. He didn't force shots, and that's a lot of kids that score a lot sometimes will force shots. He didn't. I mean, he took what was there, and he set his teammates up, and he kept encouraging them to shoot. And Ben Bronson had a big game, and Bobby Sullivan had his best game of the year. And so that was huge for Anthony to kind of encourage his teammates to be the scorers, and that's why we won the game.
Coach, talk about a little bit this Louisville team and just what they do so well, and what are some keys to victory in this game? I think everyone's kind of excited to see both Will Aljancic and Anthony Matsuchi on the same court again.
Yeah, that Aljancic is a heck of a scorer. He is really smooth. He can shoot from deep. If you don't have a plan for him, he could go for a lot of points against you. So obviously, we're going to have to try to limit him as much as possible. But then 24, the sophomore, is a really good player also. And then 22, the lefty, the senior, he had 8 threes against us the first time we played. So, I mean, they got guys that can score the ball. We're going to have to really, really, really concentrate on those 3 guys and rebound their misses. That's been the biggest thing for us. When we rebound, we got a really great chance to win. Early against Ursuline, we just kept giving up offensive rebound after offensive rebound. But in the fourth quarter, when we had to get stops, the biggest reason it was 19-3 in the fourth is they got 1 shot, they missed them, and then we rebounded, so they didn't get extra chances. It'll have to be the same tonight. We cannot give up second chances. Team scores too well, so we got to make them take a tough shot and do everything we can to rebound it.
Coach, best of luck tonight in the game. We thank you so much for taking your time to kind of join us, give us a little bit of a preview, and hopefully next week we can get you back on and talk about a district championship and a regional semifinal.
I would enjoy that a lot, guys. I hope it happens.
Thank you, Coach, for your time.
All right, thanks.
Dan Boobin, the head coach of the Howland boys basketball team, joining us on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We're going to take our second break of the day. When we come back, we'll begin to preview the games for tonight, and then Jeff Brink will be here at 1:45 to talk about Springfield's game tomorrow against Cardinal Mooney. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Jimmy Sutton here, director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And Ty, we are venturing into the second hour of Running Point. It's time to preview these games tonight, the ones that we haven't talked about in nauseum with coaches and everyone. But let's talk about this Lowville-St. Thomas Aquinas matchup on the boys' side real quick. Both these teams coming in with lopsided victories in their district semifinals. They've both looked really good in this tournament. Thomas Aquinas scored 91 in their sectional final. Their offense is rolling like no other. Lowville is playing pretty well too. I think that it was 70-53 in their district semi. What do you think about this game? I know Aquinas is going to have the height advantage, but Lowville has a lot of guys that can beat you.
Yeah, both teams have a lot of ways to score, and that's the thing with this team is any one of the guys between Lucente, Banovsky, Balone, any one of those three can really go off and hurt you. And then we've even seen Mark Dubos now start to come in and contribute, and he's always been a solid player for them anyway, running that point guard position fairly well as a ball handler and a really good defender too. He's scrappy and he's got a high motor too, so he's another key to that team. But there's so many different pieces to this team, and there's so many guys that can beat you. And like we said, for guys that can go up for 20, there's so many role players that can go in and chip in 10 points any given night too. So, I mean, that's the thing with the Rockets is, I mean, similar to Aquinas, there's a lot of different weapons on this team.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a game between inside and out. I think Aquinas does a lot of work inside with the height, and they're going to try to probably take advantage of that, try to get the ball inside as much as possible. But Lowville can shoot the lights out. And they can work inside too. Don't get me wrong. Like, they have a lot of good post presence, and they'll probably, you can't completely go away from that. But I think the perimeter game of Lowville might be the focus of their offense.
Yeah, and Anthony Lucente is actually one of those guys. He's not going to be as tall as the guys on Aquinas, but he's got some size to him, and he's actually very quick, deceptively quick on his feet too. So he's kind of got like a tight end build, but he's really quick on his feet, and he's able to box out with a lot of those guys down low too. So I think that Lucente is going to be a key for the rebounding, but he's also going to be key because he could shoot from the 3, and he can act as this team's center sometimes too. He acts as the 5, the 4. He's like a guard forward almost because of his quickness and his ability to ball handle, shoot from the perimeter, but also back you down low and play true center or true forward as well.
And don't forget that in boxing out, I almost lost my train of thought. In boxing out, good position can beat height any day. Like if you get good position, their options are either to go over your back and get the rebound, which is a foul if they're calling it, or you get the rebound. Those are the only two options if you box out correctly and you have good positioning. So height doesn't mean everything in rebounding.
Having good size helps.
Right, height doesn't mean everything in rebounding. I mean, if you're able to back them down and for lack of a better term, put your butt into them, then you're gonna be able to get good position and force the post into a position where they either got to foul you and go over the back, or they got to let you get the rebound.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's going to be key in this one is if Lowville is battling in that rebounding box is going to be huge. If they win the rebounding battle, I'd say they win the game. But I think for this one to keep it close and not have Aquinas take like a really big lead, having those rebounding totals be closer to even, because that's telling me you're not allowing them. You want to talk about someone who just was on the money and on the ball, basically what Coach Bubon just said too with Howland. It's going to be pretty similar in this one. Got to cut those rebounds off, and you got to cut those shots off at 1. You can't let them get offensive boards. And if Lowville's keeping that rebounding total close with Aquinas, what that's telling me is that they're keeping those offensive board numbers down for the Knights, and they're making sure that those shots are cutting off after 1 shot attempt.
Yeah, and if Aquinas does get a lead, the best way to come back is to make them go one and done. Not give them second chance opportunities, and make sure, 1, you're making them take the toughest shot humanly possible, and 2, when you do that, you're getting the rebound if they miss.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing is just like you said, you got to have the good positioning to box out and make sure you secure those rebounds at 1 shot. Aquinas is a pretty tough team to beat. They make it a lot tougher, too, when you're giving them second, third, fourth chance opportunities at the rim.
Another game going on tonight is JFK versus Matthews. Matthews coming in with a 24-1 record. They've been setting the world on fire in Division 4. Team that we don't hear about a lot because they're not a YSN team, but they're definitely in the area, and they're definitely doing a lot of good things. But JFK is built for this. I mean, they've went and loaded their schedule up with a lot of really good teams, and I don't think, like Coach Comlink said it yesterday, I don't think Matthews is going to be better than some of the teams that they've seen. I don't think Matthews is the best team on their schedule. Now, that doesn't mean that Matthews can't beat JFK. They absolutely can. They're talented enough too. But I don't think Matthews is going to be like this surprise where, oh my gosh, you've never seen a team that can do the things that Matthews can do.
Yeah, and I think what Coach K was even saying too was that he likes the idea of being the underdog on paper. And I mean, this is a team in JFK. They've been past this. They've been past the district championship. They were in the regionals last year. Like, this is a JFK team that's been there. They've done that. They've hoisted the trophy before, and that says something too. These are guys that were there last year doing this.
They've been the underdog all season. Like, let's be real. As soon as they went 1-3 to start, people are like, there goes JFK's chances right out the window. I think JFK has been feeding into this chip on their shoulder underdog mentality all season.
We talked about Fender being Coach of the Year. Coach K might get some nods for that too, because you know what?
He's up there.
Yeah, I think everyone was kind of taken aback by JFK losing those games too, but getting this team on track and helping navigate that ship and helping these boys stay confident and upbeat through this entire time too, and shutting out the outside noise like he said too throughout the whole season. And I think he's done a great job over there as well.
We may have talked to 2 Coach of the Year candidates on the show today because Dan Boobin.
Yeah, that's for sure too.
He's right there too. I mean, if he gets his program's first ever district championship, that's something.
I mean, that's absolutely something considering. I mean, when was the last time? No, Rick said they appeared 2004. So none of these kids were I don't think any of these kids were born the last time the Howland even appeared in a district championship game. So this is special times for Howland, and I think you're right too. If he wins, that might be Coach of the Year candidate too.
He's going to be in the conversation. My vote, especially, I've said it. My vote's still for Fender. Especially if they win against Cheney, I just feel like, man, being down the kids that you're down and going through all that and still pulling out this year has a lot to do with coaching, and probably a lot more to do with coaching than Coach Fender would admit, because he's a humble guy, and probably a lot more to coaching than the casual fan would kind of understand. But it's a lot of coaching to get these kids where they are with the adversity they've dealt with through injuries.
We have a lot of Coach of the Year candidates on the boys and girls side too. The girls,
you talk about girls, and I'm thinking like Sarah Hamilton, probably the front runner a little bit right now. Is you get the state.
Hamilton's a front runner. Deidre Watson's up there. I think Coach Longenecker's up there too.
Longenecker, yeah.
I think he should be in the top 5, considering everything that team went through and getting them to an MVAC championship and getting them all the way to a district semi. That was,
and that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. Like we're splitting hairs. We have that's not getting to even a district championship.
Yeah, it hurts.
Hurt him in that conversation.
I think it just deserves a little bit of a nod, tip of the cap that he definitely is in the conversation.
You think about this team last year, and Waterloo didn't win a tournament game. They were one and done. They didn't even win a sectional game, and they were in there playing for a district semifinal, and they did all the things they did this year. Lost their first game of the season, then won the rest all the way up until that district semifinal. Deidre Watson deserves some love.
Like I said too before, Coach Longenecker, Deidre Watson definitely should be Coach of the Year candidate too, considering ending Liberty's drought too from a district championship, as well as Liberty's drought from a conference championship. So getting a lot of firsts in quite some time for Liberty over there was Coach Watson this season.
Do not envy the people that have to make that decision, and me and DJ are one of them. So
yeah,
I don't envy myself.
You guys are gonna have tough ones too. I mean, there's plenty of coaches that are definitely deserving.
That's gonna be coming out pretty soon. Our YSN, all YSN team and the YSN Players of the Year and the YSN Coaches of the Year and the Offensive Players of the Year, Defensive Player of the yada yada. Our awards do not end with the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley of the Year. I don't know if we ever won. Did we say who won that? Faye Stellato won that from Struthers. Trey DePietro won the boys basketball pole from Boardman, and Dominic Leone from Liberty won the wrestling pole. Don't know if we said it, but if we did,
I think we did.
I feel like we did, but this week we've had so much on that I've just kind of washed out some of the stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I think we mentioned it because I remember you making the face Stellato with the stiletto.
Oh yeah, Stellato with the stiletto dagger in the voting polls. That was my favorite call.
I told you Struthers community could show up, and Faith winning Big Dog of the Year too. Gonna see if we could get them on too before the end of basketball.
Got to.
We have had Trey DePietro featured on though with a post game interview.
We do. We have a lot of Trey DePietro. He was post game interviewed a lot for Boardman this year. The other game we want to talk about tonight, Jefferson versus Campbell. You're going to be doing it in Howland. These are two teams. We talked about it a little bit with Nick Canarino yesterday, so we're not going to go deep in depth. But real quick, because it's tonight, I mean, two teams that are high flying offensively. They both have really good scores, and Bobby Ray, Kevin Moore. Jefferson has other people that can beat you as well. What do you expect from this game? I mean, do you think it'll be as high scoring as ever, or do you think it'll be one of those games that surprises people and maybe the defense makes more plays than people expect?
It could be. And I mean, both teams have showcased that they can get into both defensive and offensive battles. They can be scrappy defensive, hold teams under 50 and to the 50 point margins. And they can get into shootouts of the 70s to 80 point ranges too, and really start piling points on. I don't know. I feel like, honestly, right now, if it gets into either or, I feel like the advantage slightly leans to Camel either way. I feel like I'm 60-40 on either way if it turns into a defensive or offensive battle. Now, granted, I've seen a little bit more of Campbell than I've seen of Jefferson this season, but what I have seen of Jefferson, they have the capabilities of putting up some ridiculous box score numbers too. We've seen them get into the 80s, the 90s in box score numbers, averaging 70. They just scored 70 in their district semifinal game too. They just scored 73, I believe, in the district semifinal. So I mean, they've showed that they could score in bunches too. And they've also showed that they could play defense with some tough, gritty defensive teams, especially playing in that NE8 conference this year. They've played in a tough series of games as well. I think both these teams having the 7 conference games that they had, Campbell for the MVAC Gray and the NE8 for Jefferson, I think both these conferences sharpened them up very well. And then the non-conference games they played also were tough. So I think both these teams are pretty even. I just give slight advantages to Campbell because I think we both talked about it. I just think they have a little bit more ways to win and beat you.
Both these teams are conference champions. Jefferson sharing it with Struthers, Campbell outright, but both.
That was big for Jefferson too, to get a piece of that from Struthers.
They did that they needed a win over Struthers the second time they played. They got it. They also beat Gerard in a pretty good game for Jefferson as well. So you're going to be in Howland. You're going to be in Noah Rick's spot.
Noah Rick's is
following. Give it to you while he travels to Ashtabula Lakeside.
Yeah, Noah Rick's is following Howland. So yeah, I mean it's all right. I'll keep the seat in the Lamborghini warm for you.
Yes, I love it. You get to spend the night with the big old fat ball.
Yeah. I'll go keep the seat warm for Noah. He got to go cover the Tigers in Lakeside.
Now we venture into this girls basketball game, the last girls team standing in the YSN family. It is Salem playing for a regional championship tonight against a Norton team tie that looks a lot like Salem. They do a lot of the things that Salem does. They pressure you on defense. They trap a lot. They run. They force turnovers. This is going to be this like, here's my best, here's your best. Let's go see who wins. I mean, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too, and I'm just excited to see these two teams kind of look in the mirror against one another and just see who's going to be quicker. And that's really all it's going to come down to, I think, because who has the quicker first steps, who's just that step quicker, because they look so similar on tape. It's going to be a speed race, and who makes those plays a little bit quicker, who's a little bit quicker to the punch, who reacts quicker. I mean, it's going to be all, I think, an instance of speed, because that's what these two teams are so good at defensively and offensively.
I'm going to say it though. I think the only team this year that has had the athletes to kind of run with Salem and had done it really well, Massillon Jackson. And they're playing for a regional final in Division I. Everyone else, when you beat Salem, you have to slow them down. You have to slow down the game. You have to slow down the tempo, especially Mooney. Oh my gosh, they slowed that game way down. Norton's going to play into Salem's hand, and I don't know if you really want to do that. I know they played stall ball against West Branch. You can't do it against Salem, so they're going to have to play the run game. I don't know if you want to get into a running match with Salem. I don't know. I think Norton might be looking at each other in the fourth quarter saying, what did we get ourselves into?
It's a Salem defense that has made a lot of teams look bad.
I know they really have.
They've made a lot of teams look bad this year.
Like, they just held a team in the regional semifinals, which is supposed to be like the highest level they held them to 26. Like, no, you're not going to score at all. I love it. And they were just in the fourth quarter, they took over. And I said it, you could see it in the big glaring example that Salem was more conditioned and better in the fourth quarter. Northwest was running a play that was working all day, and they ran it. It was basically they started the ball high on their left side of the offense. They set a high ball screen. The girl came off of it and drove to the right side of the lane, and then either she made the layup or their post, who was 6'2", just got the weak side rebound in there, and it was set up brilliantly. But in the fourth quarter, that drive was a little bit late, and the box out wasn't as good in the weak side, and it was basically a tough layup that didn't go, and then a quick defensive rebound for Salem. It wasn't working in the fourth quarter the way it was in the first, second, and third because Northwest was just gassed.
And I mean, just trying to look through these box scores too. I mean, it's incredible the shooting percentages that Salem holds some of these premier scorers too.
Like I said, the highest scoring team against Salem was Massillon Jackson, and even they scored well below their season average. I believe they had 55. Marlington scored more, but Massillon Jackson did it in a different way.
Bigger diff. Go on, just say the diff, Anthony. They had a bigger diff.
Marlington scored more against Salem, but I think Massillon Jackson was the team that scored as much as they did with the high tempo.
And Massillon Jackson's a D1 powerhouse in that
playing
federal
for a regional
league,
final.
too.
I mean, they're playing for a trip to state too.
They've been beating higher seeds in that D1 bracket too, because their teeth are sharpened in that federal league, and they've played a lot of great competition this year. So I mean that's not as surprising too. And for Salem to be competitive at least against that D1 powerhouse in Massillon Jackson, that's impressive too. And they did that right before the end of the season.
I think it was their last game of the regular season.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's some guts to say, hey, we're going to get ready for tournaments by going and playing one of the best Division I teams that we can find.
We're going to get ready for tournaments by going into the dragon's lair and then just poking the dragon.
Right.
Quick.
Or the polar bear, the polar bear's
lair,
more accurate.
Just polar bear's lair and just.
And it didn't hurt their confidence one bit because they came into the tournament. They were confident as ever.
Doesn't seem very Quaker like to go in and start poking a polar bear.
That's why I never used the term fighting Quakers, because it's just
it's so weird.
It's an oxymoron. So
the fighting Quakers. Anthony's going to post
those you that are so
why I said the fighting Quakers are an oxymoron by Anthony Hartwig, a 4-page story on why.
Right. Go into the deep diving philosophical history of the Quakers,
what a Quaker is and what a fighter is.
And you
go through every list of fighter in history and you're like, here's what fighters are, here's what Quakers are.
They are polar opposites.
It's a research paper submitted by Anthony Hartwig.
Coming soon to ysnlive.com.
Ban fighting Quakers from all speech on air. Doesn't make sense.
For those of you that are like, what? Well, a Quaker, obviously, traditionally, not like the Salem Quakers, but a Quaker was, a group of the religious group in Pennsylvania that was traditionally pacifist. They did not get involved in squabbles and things like that. They were kind of, turn the other cheek, very neutral in violent situations. And so, yeah.
They make some great oatmeal, too. You got all those choices too. So I mean, but now,
what's your favorite oatmeal flavor?
Huh?
Favorite oatmeal flavor?
I was always maple and brown sugar. I feel like is always someone's. That one's up there, but like apples and cinnamon too were always.
For me, it's always cinnamon spice.
Cinnamon spice I've had like the cinnamon roll, like all those the strawberries and cream weren't bad.
I don't like it like super thick. I like it more soupy.
Do you do what? Do you do the water and milk?
Yeah, the water and have it a little bit more soupy, so I can just kind of, and the soupy cinnamon and spice is very good.
Good.
I could never eat the apple one because I didn't like the chunks. Like you had apple chunks in there. And I'm a texture guy. Like if you don't know, kind of picky, and it has a lot to do with the texture of stuff I eat. Like I don't like lumpy potatoes. So chunks of apple in my oatmeal are like, ooh, no.
Yeah, okay.
No, I don't want no chunks of anything.
That's like a perfect like winter breakfast. It was like oatmeal. That's top bar. But no,
and oatmeal and porridge are different. So don't be mistaken porridge for oatmeal. Goldilocks did not eat oatmeal. She ate porridge, and it's very different.
Here's Anthony's other random.
Here goes another thing where the difference between oatmeal and
Porridge versus oatmeal. The difference. Know it. Anthony Hartwig's second research. Just videos of you eating every kind of porridge that's on the shelves.
Yeah. It's porridge. Not quite right. Goldilocks.
But we want to congratulate the Quakers again, and we want to wish them the best.
We get off on track. Back to this Salem game real quick. I think the difference in the game is going to be Salem has more people that can handle the ball and more people that are going to be able to get past the press defense against Norton. That's why I think Salem's going to win this game. And I think it's going to be a game where it's close for 3 quarters and Salem pulls away in the 4th. I don't think it's going to be something that Salem is sweating down the stretch like they did against Northwest.
You get to call it, Anthony, and I just want to wish the Lady Quakers the best of luck and beat Norton, bring back some good news for us to talk about on Monday. And hopefully Monday we're talking about another Lady Quaker win.
This is actually false. Do not like corn. Don't like corn on the cob unless it's popcorn. Cream corn, no. Corn on the cob.
Just a
no.
thing.
It gets all stuck in everything, and you feel gross the rest of it. No, not about corn.
Monday we could be talking about Salem competing for a state championship.
On Thursday in Dayton is when they would play. Thursday at 2:00 in Dayton. If they win tonight in Barberton. But let's go right back to a coach that is playing for a district championship game instead of a regional, hoping to play for a regional a little bit later. It is Jeff Brink, the head coach of the Springfield boys basketball team, with the world on his shoulders in the background.
But you got to go Lady Quakers, too, because you got to remember, I was at Salem. So
Yeah. Go Lady Quakers from
Coach Hamilton was actually one of the students when I was a teacher down there. So I hope they can pull it off. That'd be a great accomplishment.
Yeah, we're pulling for him too, Coach. And looking at this game, we had Coach Palermo on yesterday, and this is going to be a fun one. Mooney pulling off a big win against Liberty, and got it right now to face you guys. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. What do you see as some keys in this one, and what have you seen from your boys in this tournament run?
Well, I think when you look at that, Mooney, Coach Palermo does a great job. I mean, it's a great team. I think their schedule's been very difficult, challenging schedule. They've got some big-time wins, been very successful. But I think the key is their pressure. They do a great job with their pressure defense, their traps, pressure. They create and generate a lot of turnovers. And on the offensive end, they're very efficient. I mean, Mick Hergenrother is one of the best in the Mahoning Valley. He controls tempo. He's very good off the dribble and creating opportunities for his scorers. They shoot the ball very well. So it's a dangerous team. I mean, it's obviously a challenge. I think anybody would be a fool not to realize when you get this deep in the tournament, you're going to play a great team. You're going to play a well-coached team that's a solid team that can win and compete and, go on in the tournament. So with that being a challenge, we're looking forward to it. It's another great challenge and should be a great game. I actually think it's going to be a real solid one.
And I'm sure you've seen the film of their Liberty game, and boy, did they shoot really well in that game. They kind of shot the lights out. What's kind of the game plan to get them off that spot and try to keep their shooters as contained as possible?
Well, I think you got to make sure that you account for all of them. They have a variety of players. It's not just Hergenrother that's a great player, but they can all shoot. I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5 players and some off the bench that are all guys that can step in and make an open shot. So I think you have to be very accountable to your responsibilities defensively and understand where you need to be, where you're supposed to be within reason to be able to contest shots. You can't let catch and shoot threes kill you. You got to make them put it on the deck, have to create, and not simply just stand there and get good open looks and that are clean. So for us, we've been a pretty good defensive team through the years. But I think this is definitely one of those challenges that you're going to have to rise to the occasion to be successful.
Looking at your team too, what have you seen primarily from this Tigers team in this tournament that has made them so tough? And down the stretch, what do you think the biggest things that they've kind of turned the corner on, or that you've seen improvements on from the start of the tournament till now?
I just think you see a battle-tested team. I mean, you're talking about kids that, most our starters, they've gone to the regionals twice in the last 3 years. The football team's gone to state 4 times. So you're just looking at kids that they're battle tested. It's not the aura in the arena is not going to overwhelm them with we're in a big game. So that type of thing is you realize what's at stake. A lot of our kids realize that they didn't achieve the goals that they had set as younger players, that they came close and knocked on the door. And I think it's something where they look at it and realize as a senior, this is the last opportunity I'm going to have. This is it. There's a finality to it when you get to the tournament. And with that, you have to appreciate and embrace it because it is an opportunity. It's a challenge, but it's opportunity.
Coach, you brought up your defense, and they played a great game against Garfield to get to here. You held the G-men to under 30 points. Talk about the defensive performance in the district semifinals and what went so right for your defensive game plan in that game.
I think from the game plan standpoint, our execution was tremendous. We got what we wanted to do. Adam Wary did just an unbelievable job in a lockdown situation on Spade, who's a great scorer for Garfield. And Bo does what Bo always does, which is basically lock down who he plays. And I think it's something where defensively it comes down to not only great on-the-ball defenders, but you have to play great team defense. And I thought the Garfield game was one of the better defensive team efforts that we had, being in the right gaps, rotations, responsibilities. When you have coverages that players know where they're supposed to be and they're in the right spot, makes it more difficult for the offense to execute their kind of comfort zone, the things that they want to do, and you take them out of that and try to force them into some more difficult decisions.
Talking about just stepping into this role this year, Coach, I mean, these are guys, too, that Poe Brungard hasn't had a basketball preseason in
right.
years. So when you have all this going into your first year, too, just talk to me about how well the boys have responded to not necessarily a huge shift in the culture, I guess you would say, but the change in the coaching, too, and how they've responded. And, I mean, it's obviously paid off. It's gotten them back to a district championship.
I think when you have the senior class, that's the key. And the seniors buy in, everything goes down from that. And I was fortunate to where a lot of the seniors, either their parents or through other players that played for me, had some correlation and knew me. And I think it was easy for them to come in and see right off the bat the first time I met them, hey, we're not in this just to come in and go through the motions and be here. I'm a Springfield Tiger. I was born and raised, in New Middletown. I grew up there. I spent years there as an assistant coach. I spent years there as a head coach. As an alum, I always have followed them even from a distance. For me, it's a passion that goes beyond just your competitive desire to win a game. For me, it's personal. It's about family, friends, relatives. Everyone is involved in the community. So I think that they know what it means to me personally. And I think they know that I didn't come in here just to pick up a job. It was something that for me, it's home. And it's about doing something for my community and my friends and my family and being a part of something that's much, much bigger than just our basketball team.
Coach, before we let you go, I want to give you a chance to give a call to action to this Springfield community. They showed up so well last night for the girls' regional game. What would it mean to you to see the same kind of show out, the same kind of support and energy from the crowd tomorrow in Boardman, in Salem?
Well, we expect that. I mean, last year, unfortunately for the kids with COVID, they didn't get to experience the big crowds. They go to regional, but you didn't have the crowd. Back when they were freshmen and they played at Struthers when they were D4, it was a great crowd. I was at the game watching as a fan, and it was tremendous because Springfield follows their athletics. We'll expect 3,000 plus tomorrow afternoon, at Salem. I just think that you're going to have a massive crowd. I think it's going to force Salem to open up the upper deck in terms of the bleachers because they're not going to be able to handle the crowd. That's just what we expect from Springfield. That's the type of following we have. It's going to be a chaotic atmosphere and environment, which is what makes high school basketball and high school sports special when you have those kind of atmospheres.
That's certainly going to be exciting, too, and we know that the Springfield community definitely shows out for supporting the Tigers. Real quickly, Coach, before we let you go, just talk to me, I guess, real quickly about the season, about these boys that they've had, the seniors going into this district championship, and just you've been talking so much about how it's been senior-led and everything. Just give me that one final shout-out to your senior leaders and how important they've been to this season this year.
Yeah, I think, going back to the crowd thing, we'll have more people at the game on Saturday than live in New Middletown. People will come back to go to the game. That's the way the town is. People come from out of town to do it. For the seniors, it's something that, I'll be honest, I've done this for 35 plus years. It's one of the best groups I've ever had in terms of kids. They're just great, great kids. And I think the way that they approach it, they're hungry, they're invested in it, they've embraced it, and embracing, we talked about embracing the grind all year. And with that being said, it gives us an opportunity. We could come out and lose. Mooney's a great ball club. Coach Palermo does a great job. But the bottom line is we're going to go out fighting. We're going to go out with our kids scrapping and fighting and going after it. That's just the kind of attitude that we have and that prevails throughout our district.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a little preview of this game tomorrow against Mooney. We appreciate the time, and hopefully next week we can talk to you about some regional games and district championship.
For sure. I hope so. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Have a great day.
You as well.
Jeff Brink, the head coach of the Springfield Tigers boys basketball team, joining us live on Running Point. We thank him for his time. Let's give you one quick reminder of the games that are going on tonight and over the weekend before we get out of here. Once again, $9.99 gets you access to every game on the network for tournament time. One payment. Make sure you're buying it from ysnlive.com. There are a lot of links out there, scammers, things that pop up. Make sure you know what you're paying for. And if it's not $9.99, it's not us. We can guarantee that. Louisville will take on Howland and Ashley Beulah Lakeside. Noah Ricks on the call there. All these games will tip off at 7 o'clock. Jefferson taking on Campbell in Howland. Ty will be on the call there. Warren JFK versus Matthews at 7 o'clock in Grand Valley. Dom O'Brien making the trip to make that call. And then in Struthers, it's Lowville versus St. Thomas Aquinas. Eric Hughes will have the call there. In girls action, the last girls team standing on the YSN family, Salem Quakers, they will play Norton tonight for the regional championship in Barberton. 7 o'clock, DJ Oakley and myself on the call in the Purple Palace of Barberton. And then on Saturday, Springfield versus Mooney will be at Salem at 3 o'clock. Anthony Romo will have the call there. Jamie Thompson doing some work for us as well. He'll head to Boardman as Cheney takes on Poland at 4 o'clock. So 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock for the boys' games tomorrow, both district championship games, both YSN versus YSN matchups. We are guaranteed 2 teams in regionals after tomorrow is said and done. And then today we're guaranteed, let's see, we're guaranteed at least 2. Hopefully we get 4 tonight in the regionals, and then hopefully we'll get one team in state for Salem as well.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. Maybe Monday's show will be a lot of celebration.
Salem can make it 5 sports seasons in a row where YSN's had a representative at state.
Yep. And let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go, Lady Quakes.
Me and Ty are going to take a 70-hour break. We'll be back on Monday from 12 to 2 to wrap up all the weekend's great action. We'll have recaps. We'll have interviews. We'll have all of that fun stuff on Monday from 12 to 2. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour from 3 to 4. 5 games on the network tonight, 2 on the network tomorrow. 9 gets you access to all of them for that day. Tune in, go out, support, do whatever you want, and we'll have a wonderful weekend. We will see you all on Monday.